Article time, chat. Look, there's another one. And this one's really long. I love my slappertunity. An interview with producer Miyauchi of Guilty Gear Strive. We explore the development secrets behind GM's design, the reasons for removing Wild Assault, the intentions behind large-scale adjustments in version 2.0, and the future of the series. Because this one is from Famitsu, which is a separate... The other one was from 4Gamer. This is a separate Japanese publication. So this one is like... someone said it goes through the future of gear. But also someone said they talk about Robo-Ky in the other one, and it was like a previous sentence. I know Famitsu, they're the big ones. Famitsu is the big one. We're in the big leagues now. We're in the giant leagues. Look, there's fucking XX. Now in its 5th year since release in 2021, game title... Guilty Gear Strive continues to lead the forefront in the fighting game scene. What the fuck happened? The major update version 2.0 released on April 9th, 2026 brought out significant balance adjustments that overtuned the established theories of the game and introduced new systems. Whoopsie, my bad. I ate the source code, my bad. Following the update, it received a great response from fans both domestically and internationally, and also became a topic of discussion for recording the highest number of active users since its release in 2021. Guilty Gear Strive, the major update version 2.0 released on April 9th. That's the same sentence. Yeah. The sentence just duplicated itself. So dyslexia just makes new text appear at random? Exactly. Dyslexia just fucks with web pages when you're reading them. This article features an interview with Ken Miyauchi of Arc System Works, the producer of the game. We spoke with him about the 5-year journey, the meaning behind the update, and the next goals the series is aiming for. It's so funny seeing people try to like cinematically take pictures of Ken. And he just seems like a guy that wants to get on with his work. He really gives the impression of someone who wants to just do his job and doesn't want to be, like, shown in a bunch of articles and stuff yet. Yeah, here we are. Table of contents. It recorded the second highest number of active users. Okay, so these are all the things. The user count, Steam chart posting, Wild Assault, wild adjustments over mild adjustments. Major balance adjustments, almost like a complete rebuild, Sol and Kai's new special move, story behind Jam. It has recorded the second highest number of active users since its release. The response exceeded expectations. Since the release of version 2.0, some users have been saying that it's the most exciting release since its initial launch. What are your impressions of this response? Oh, that's what he's saying. We are grateful for the overwhelming response. The highest number of active users on Steam was right after the game's release in 2021, followed by the peak when Dizzy was added in Season 4. This latest update has surpassed those figures, setting a new record for the second highest number of active users in the game's history. To be honest, we, the development team, are surprised that the game has been played this much in its 5th year. Version 2.0 was surprisingly free, and we've seen other users asking, is it really okay for it to be free? To be honest, considering the cost involved, a normal company would probably say no. With a service that's been running for this long, there are other ways to update it, such as new packages or expansion passes. However, this time our main goal was to get the dormant users back, so we decided to make it free. That's good. To be fair, a lot of people were like... I saw a general sentiment being like, if we have to rebuy Strive, I'm dipping. I'm leaving. So I am glad that the whole update is free. Genuinely. For a title that had been running for about 5 years since its launch, this level of excitement is truly exceptional. Looking back on these 5 years of development and operation, what are your thoughts? It was a truly fleeting 5 years, but I feel like I learned a great deal. I joined Arc System Works around the time the teaser trailer for the title was released. I've been serving as producer since Season 2. From the beginning, I've felt firsthand how the series is supported by a passionate fan community. And we've gone through a major update in Season 3, an anime adaptation in Season 4, and the implementation of our first collaborative character. All the way to version 2.0, Guilty Gear Strive was a title that started with the concept of attracting a wider range of new users. I'm grateful that both existing fans and newcomers have continued to run alongside us for these past 5 years. The Tej glitched out again! There were tough times during development, but I truly feel that this is a title that we've created together with our users. Every day the development team is constantly discussing things like what should the series concept be, and what do players want now. However, the environment surrounding players and how they play changes little by little over time. The same elements may be perceived differently than before, or different things may be required at this particular time. Over the past 5 years, we have observed these changes and felt the need to flexibly consider what features are needed now in the future while cherishing the core values that we want to maintain for the series. We want to listen to the voices of our players and deliver what they are looking for at any given time. I genuinely didn't realize that Ken showed up during Season 2. I thought we learned about him in Season 2, but I thought he was helping for the entire game. Which, like, interesting. Was there a radical shift? I guess Season 3 was when they introduced Wilder Toll. So there was a bit of a drastic shift afterwards. But considering that, like, Season 2 wasn't that crazy. Interesting. Reconsidering the wild adjustments over mild adjustments approach. A reset adjustment for the future. In version 2.0, the game balance seems to have undergone significant changes. Reading the patch notes, it seems that the characteristic of Guilty Gear, which was to use one's own resource to control the pace of the game, has been deliberately toned down. He was a Potemkin player during the Exile days, right? I thought he played, like... The only character I know he's ever said he played was Ragnar. But people are saying, like, oh, yeah, he's a grappler player. And I'm like, oh. The original designer was a grappler player. I don't think Ken's a grappler player. It's not calling Wild Assault, Mild Assault from out. You mean Mild Assault? Cringe-ass mechanic. As you said, with this adjustment, we strongly focused on how to adjust the battle balance going forward. As a series, we have always valued the idea of wild adjustments rather than mild adjustments. I believe that this is one of the defining characteristics of the game. In previous updates, we focused on making the game more flexible, allowing players to enjoy more spectacular gameplay. But in the protest, we noticed that some aspects of the gameplay had become too powerful. Taking this into consideration, this time we have taken a step back to review the entire game and focused on clarifying what actions lead to what kind of reward. And there is something missing here. Google Translate! What the fuck? Oh, it's just missing. It's just not there. Okay. That's right. To whatever random question you said. I believe the strength and flashiness are part of what makes Guilty Gear unique, so not compromising on those is a top priority. On the other hand, as players continue to enjoy the game for a long time, I also feel that a sense of satisfaction in the strategic aspects and the clarity of the interactions during battles are important. Therefore, this time, rather than simply weakening characters, we focus on balancing the game as a whole while preserving the unique characteristics of each character. Hiding Ragnar. They don't want us to see. They don't want us to see the truth. I think they did a good job. I do think there's a couple of characters that fell through the cracks. Like I've said, I think Bridget and Testament lost a lot of their like hit and run potential, which kind of sucks, and they're like just kind of not as good right now. I think the majority of the characters are in a pretty good spot where it feels like a lot of the characters do something that no one else in the cast will do, and a couple of them do things that no other fighting game character at all will ever do, which I think is a very good place for Guilty Gear. Or does something like, but won't it feel bad for players if their characters get nerfed? That was in the other article, I think, and they were like, yeah, but fuck it, who cares? I'm glad to hear you feel that way in response to nothing. In previous updates, we focused on expanding the range of gameplay, which in turn gradually raised the overall standard. As we enter our 5th year, we aim to leverage what we've built up so far while also reorganizing the entire game to create an environment where you can enjoy it for even longer. But no, I do think I like the approach they've taken where they're like, we need a stable ground to work upon. Because I think the next couple of years from here, the game's going to go up and up in power level again. I don't think we're going to have another Back to Basics patch. Because it wouldn't really make sense to have another Back to Basics patch. So I think them being like, listen, we're going to, do this big update and we're going to make it so that everything's a little bit more stable, everyone's a little bit more balanced, everyone's a little bit more nerfed. I think that's a good idea. I personally think this might be the best state the game's ever been in. Even better than like 3.5, which I have said a lot. I really liked Season 3.5. But no, I really appreciate how the game is right now. I think it's very interesting and very fun. I think they're good. A good job. Good job arc system works. So that's the background behind the phrase, adjustments to clarify the standards for future battle in the patch notes. Yes, we feel it's necessary to reorganize the overall standards in order to re-examine what players feel and want from Guild Gear Strive right now. For example, the adjustments that prevents Roman cancels during the recovery period of a failed throw is a review of situations that would normally be risky but were mitigated by resources. Through such adjustments, we are emphasizing the clarity of the strategic aspects so that players can get a proper reward when they outsmart their opponents. Strive comeback needs to be studied. We're not out of the woods yet. I will say the one big hiccup we might hit is Evo Japan. The first major of any competitive fighting game sets the tone forever for the rest of it. And if we are treating Strive as a sort of new game, all eyes are going to be on Evo Japan, and it really depends on how that goes. I think the competitive scene right now is super fucking healthy. Like, we literally just saw the bracket I played. We played against... We did a jam mirror. We did 2 jam mirrors, technically, but we also played against Kai and Baiken in those mirrors. Then we played against an Eno. Then we played against a Testament. And finally, we played against a Geo, right? The tournament before that, I fought 2 Sins. The tournament before that, I fought Lucy and 2 Asukas. Like, the balance right now is really good between the amount of people that are playing different characters. Yeah, Tekken 7 Evo, Leroy just dominating the game, set a massive tone for the rest of, like, the hype that happened. In fact, there's a really good video about that on, like, Leo Massey's channel. He made a video talking about how Leroy just kind of crashed the Tekken hype train. So, yeah, the main thing right now is Happy Chaos with his Infinite. So it really does depend on how Evo Japan goes. Which is why I'm like, hey, if he's going to be there, people should lab against Happy Chaos to try and do what they can. Like, we have the means. If you're going to Evo Japan, you're probably going to run into a Happy Chaos that's going to try and Infinite you. All Chaos top 8, I highly doubt it's going to happen. Strive just isn't that kind of game where, like, everyone jumps to one character. Even now, like, Jam's relatively pretty good. She's really easy to play and she's really fun to play. There's not that many people who are constantly playing it, though. Like, top 100 is a little bit contested, but you still fight a lot of other characters compared to Jam. Like, not everyone jumps to a single character like they did with Leroy, because he had literally everything. So it's a reset for future operations and adjustments to enhance the appeal of strategic gameplay. If these adjustments are not well received by users, is there a possibility there will be further major changes in the future? The adjustments also serve to lay the foundation for future updates. However, this is not the final form, and we plan to continue making adjustments as needed, taking into account the actual gameplay environment and feedback from players. It fucking bugged out again. This isn't even close to my final form, Kakarot. You have no idea how much bullshit I can put in this game. The intention is to perform a major balance adjustments almost like a complete rebuild. Looking at character adjustments, Asuka and Happy Chaos have undergone significant changes that are almost like a complete rebuild. It seems that the resource management has become strict for both of them. Could you tell us more about this policy? This is to go even further beyond. I would be amazed if we ever got a 3.0. I highly doubt we're getting that. Regarding the adjustments to some characters, Asuka and Happy Chaos were originally designed with the concept that by efficiently managing resources, the character's strengths can be unleashed as long as those resources last. Naturally, players would study the characters to maintain their strong state, but as a result, a situation arose where resources never ran out, and the strong state could be maintained indefinitely. Therefore, this time, instead of changing the strengths themselves, we have made the adjustments to make it clearer when they become strong and when the break occurs. In the case of Asuka, while maintaining the powerful deployment through her interactions, thank you, Japanese, we have created a flow where the situation is reset once, so there is a clearer distinction between offense and defense. Okay, in the other video, I was like, why do they keep calling Happy Chaos it? Apparently, they don't use traditional pronouns in Japanese, so Google Translate kind of guesses. It looks at a name and goes, is this a guy, is this a girl? And it looked at Happy Chaos and it was like, it's a thing. So that's why that was like that. And that's probably why it says her for Asuka here. Google Translate being funny. Oh my god! Sorry. Okay, I was going to talk about the Chaos Infinite. We don't need to! Regarding Happy Chaos, a powerful combo was discovered immediately after the update. And adjustments to address this have already been announced. As previously announced, we have confirmed that some powerful combos in Happy Chaos are occurring unintentionally. And we plan to make adjustments to address this. While the adjustments will not change the character's overall direction, a priority to ensure these interactions between characters in battle are functioning properly. The official stance is we're working on it. We'll get there eventually. It's really funny because it's not even a combo. Like, it is just a block string. Maybe they just said, like, sequence and Google Translate was, like, combo. But yeah, no, it's just a sequence that is super powerful. Chip damage is insane. Yeah. I do wonder what they're going to do. Because last time Chaos had something really, really powerful like this was all the way back in Season 1. And they fundamentally adjusted how negative penalty works. But, like, obviously that was a different producer. So I'm really interested to see what they end up doing. I don't know. I do think how they balance it, it's going to say a lot. If they balance it with a Band-Aid fix, they're probably going to end up being pretty bad. But if they somehow manage to find an elegant solution for it, it'll be really, really interesting. I don't know. It's going to be very interesting to see how they fix it. Because it is becoming a problem for a lot of players. I know a lot of players are very angry about it. We'll unfortunately just have to see what happens, though. I am hopeful that it doesn't affect Evo Japan too much. Because we are getting the balance patch after that, most likely. In the common system, the biggest change is that Wild Assault has been removed and Counter Blitz has been added. For the Guilty Gear series, removing a system that has been added is a very unusual move, isn't it? Yes, that's right. I think it's an unusual approach for our games. We introduced Wild Assault in response to feedback from users at the time who wanted more freedom. However, as we continued to use it, we began to see long-term challenges, such as differences based on skill level and the impact of each character. We made adjustments up until Season 4, but when considering new characters and balance, the challenge of battle design, including Wild Assault, arose. So, like, it was difficult to make adjustments because you had to consider the balance, including Wild Assault. That's right. As we increasingly had to make adjustments based on Wild Assault, we decided that it was necessary to reorganize things in order to aim for a better overall balance. Therefore, it was removed in version 2.0. Thank fuck. I think there's, like, a nice parallel here of the designers being like, I fucking hate working with Wild Assault. And the players also being like, I fucking hate dealing with Wild Assault. Like, both of us were just like, this mechanic is a pain in the fucking ass. This mechanic fucking sucks, and neither of us like it. So the designers like, right, gone. Which I think is very, very, very nice of them. It's something I kind of wish other fighting games would look at and be like, hey, this central mechanic is ruining a lot of our balance, and we have to design directly around it. Maybe let's, you know, not do that. Looking at Tekken mostly, but you know. Also, they say that it's weird for Guilty Gear, and it is kind of weird for Guilty Gear to lose mechanics, but Arxis is not necessarily well known for getting rid of mechanics. But in BlazBlue, it was very common for mechanics to be heavily changed between iterations. Like, BlazBlue, Calamity Trigger, and Central Fiction are very different games, but every game between it, there was a massive swing on how the system mechanics were changed. Cough, drive rush, cough. Exactly, Judy. Welcome to the stream. But yeah. Drive is a unique place running for 5 years. They can make those changes because they've had the time to try and make it work. Yeah. But also, like, Tekken's been running for free. Street Fighter 6 is about to be running for 4. Like, you can still do a lot with these things. But, like, Street Fighter 6 is obviously very different because the whole game's built around it. But, like, even in the long term of people making their next games, so when Tekken 9, Street Fighter 7, or whatever we end up getting, like, hopefully they can take the design lesson of, like, we had to balance around this one system for years, and I fucking hated it. I wish we could just balance characters so they don't do stuff like that. We'll have to see. Obviously, trends in the space are very strange. I will also say, this feels like the first time in forever that Strive has, instead of following a trend, because, like, they obviously Wild Assault comes out as a sort of pseudo late response to Drive Rush and Heat, is seemingly sort of going in its own direction, which I think is very good. Obviously, Strive came out when fighting games were trying to make themselves a lot simpler as well. See Street Fighter 5 and Tekken 7 and stuff like that. So seeing them be like, you know what, fuck the trend, we're going to go in a different direction. It gives me hope. It's not exactly a replacement, but a new system called Counter Blitz was introduced. What was the design philosophy behind this? The idea for the Counter Blitz was considered since Season 2, before the introduction of Wild Assault, and was based off the idea of letting players experience the fun of Guilty Gear Strive with simple controls. At the time, it was a system that would lead to a combo attack if it hit, rather than being usable on counter hits, but it was ultimately made into a system that could be used on counter hits. What was the specific intention behind it? One of the appeals of Guilty Gear Strive is the ability to initiate a spectacular grand counter, which leads to exhilarating wall breaks and powerful attacks using the tension gauge. However, a challenge for new players was that even if a grand counter occurred, they wouldn't fully benefit from it unless they practiced the counter-specific combos that followed. Yeah, sorry, you guys get to see a glimpse into my dyslexia a little bit. Random Japanese characters appearing. Really just feels like how words can just change in my brain. Grandma made big. Yeah, they probably mean like that. We know what they mean as Strive players. They mean counter when like the screen slows down and the big ass text appears and the announcer shows up to let you know like that person just fucked up. Indeed, it requires learning difficult combos to deal significant damage and lead to a wall break. Counter Blitz aims to make it easier to access a part of that flow. By inputting forward in the dust button, when you land a counter hit, you can relatively easily experience the sequence that leads to a wall break, and it naturally leads into the subsequent sequence, strategic exchange, including positive bonus. We aimed to design it so that you can experience the distinctive charm of this game even when you first start playing, allowing you to gradually deepen your understanding as you continue to play and have fun. And we talked about this with the last article, it's a beginner mechanic, which I think a couple of people were upset about, but I'm fine with it being a beginner-friendly mechanic. I like Counter Blitz. I really like Counter Blitz. I still haven't used Counter Blitz a single time? Yeah, because you probably know your counter hit combos. That's the whole point, Ponwi. It is something that you are meant to outgrow, while still having a very small strategic advantage. Like, it's an auto combo that doesn't intrude on anything else, which is good. Because let's be fucking real, people hate auto combos. People have hated auto combos for a really, really long time, and the fact that we have a way to sort of simulate that for beginners and not have it intrude on anyone else is really good. I love Counter Blitz. I absolutely love Counter Blitz. Beginner mechanic, unless you're Lucy. Yeah, again, is a thing in itself, which is really cool. Lucy can use Counter Blitz mid-combo. Fuck yes! Like, that's really cool. That's something unique to, like, her and Slayer, kind of. She can? Yeah, if you use hardware malfunction, algorithm malfunction, the one that gives you the big counter hit, you can blitz off of it because it's a counter hit. Same with Universe from Slayer, which means that there's Lucy routes that are able to break the wall from a little bit further away because you use Counter Blitz. And it's like, is Lucy about breaking system rules anyway? Yeah. Like, it is a really cool part of her kit, which is just a small thing. Like, it's not something you'd use every game, but if you know it's there, you can put it into your combo routes, and I think that's really cool. Like, I really like it. I love Counter Blitz. And even though it is something I don't use, I think it's an amazing addition to the game. I think they did a really, really good job with it. And I can never be upset with you, Counter Blitz. Unless they break you somehow, I will never be upset with you. If they keep it, if they make it more consistent, obviously, so you don't drop out, completely fine with it. Like, I highly doubt they'll ever make Counter Blitz broken. I've seen people be like, oh, maybe they should have it so it can continue a combo afterwards, but I don't think that's the point. I think it being a very small auto combo that lets you break the wall is really good. They just need to fine-tune it so it actually does that in most situations. Because right now, the big problem with it is it doesn't work all the time, and sometimes people fall out of it. Which makes Deflect Shield actually worthwhile. Yeah, Deflect Shield is no longer being compared to something that's completely broken. They're both just kind of decent-ish, but they're not as good as Burst. Honestly, it does give Deflect Shield way more time to shine, because now there's the situations where Deflect Shield would show up, I just better than Wild Assault. Sol and Kai's new special move are long-awaited comebacks for fans. In previous updates, new special moves were added to some characters, but in version 2.0, Sol and Kai finally received new special moves. Sol's Sidewinder ignited and Kai's Lightning Strike are moves that have returned from previous games, and they are sure to be a treat for fans for the older games. We've been working on adding new special moves in Season 2, but it took a while to implement them for all 15 initial characters. In version 2.0, new special moves were added for Sol, Kai, as well as Robo-Ky and Leia. And we were still considering the content for Sol and Kai's moves up until the very end. We had a long discussion about what kind of moves to add to them, but in the end, we came to the conclusion that we wanted to prepare something that many players would enjoy, so we decided to base them around memorable moves from previous games. It could have just given us actual Sidewinder, but it's fine. As for Kai's Lightning Strike, its nature has changed significantly from being a move exclusively for knocking down opponents in previous games to a move that can be used in general gameplay. Regarding Kai, we deliberately avoided giving him mid-level attacks in the past, so we focused on giving him a new role without breaking that premise. Therefore, we restricted it into a new move that utilizes his past motions while striking the same spot where he would normally use Stun Edge with Lightning. This not only broadens his combo opportunities, but also makes it a useful move for hitting opponents trying to jump over Stun Edge, providing a viable option in neutral. As for Sol, his moveset is already fairly complete, so we decided that Sidewinder was the most suitable addition. And the decision was made relatively smoothly, like I was fucking saying. Sidewinder Ignited has the word ignited added to it. That might be a meta question, but assume that the characters themselves come up with these special move names. We haven't explicitly set who names the special moves. It varies from character to character. For example, Sin's Tyrant Barrel is a copy of his father's Sol's Tyrant Wraith, his stepdad. So, he's not his dad, he's the dad that stepped up. So we set it up assuming that Sin himself would come up with that name. Also, Sol's That's Wild Throw, right? Throwing boldly must be Wild Throw. It has to be. Throwing boldly might not have been named by Sol himself, but rather someone might have just said it based on its appearance. In addition, there are moves like Chip's Beta Blade, which already had a name related to his fighting style. Unica's ATTG, an abbreviation for anti-terrestrial type gear, which is more like a combat technique, and moves like Abba's, which express her relationship with Paracelsus. As for Sol, rather than saying there's a clear answer, we hope you will enjoy it with the sense of that might be the case. So you can think about why it's called Ignited instead of just Sidewinder. Personally, I think Sol named it himself. Chat, why do you think it's called Sidewinder Ignited? I think it's Ignited because he's replicating the old move, but he's doing it in a very different way because he's blowing up his, like, what's essentially a giant lighter, you know? He's igniting to do Sidewinder. He's igniting the fuse on the Elo bomb. Pipe bomb! Throwing boldly! Throwing boldly might be the best thing from here. Story behind the new design of the character, Jam Cradberry. Well, not whatever the fuck that says. There's some adult conversations involved. Oh, I'm scared. I'm so scared. With the start of Season 5, the long-awaited Jam Cradberry has joined the team. She seems a little more mature than before. Could you tell us about this design direction? Get ready. Is it bad? Oh, I see where this is going. The design for Jam in this project strongly reflects the intentions of art director Sakamura. The base design was drawn by Daisuke Ishiwatari, and Sakamura supervised its creation to finalize the design. This is a common production process, not only for Jam, but for all characters in this work. So yes, if you were wondering, chat, any big redesign a character has is overseen by Daisuke. Like, they don't just do a design on a character and that's it, it's the team's vision. Every character design, every outfit, literally is Daisuke's vision. Jam's redesign, that's Daisuke's vision. Literally. The point that's been mentioned quite a bit is that you can't see her... You can't see her panties anymore. It's something the series fans would immediately check. While it does reflect the changing times, I feel the design also expresses the character's maturity and growth. This is a really dumb bit of trivia. If you don't know, in Xrd, depending on the day of your system clock, Jam will have different colored panties on. Perhaps she's grown up a bit and developed a sense of shyness. As for Jam's distinctive features, her usual design of fighting while holding a rabbit is also intriguing. Want to catch out a grifter? Ask them what colors Jam panties are on Wednesday. I don't even know, but I don't play Xrd, so I don't care. Actually, this was also Sakamura's suggestion. While we were working on the visuals in parallel, he said to the scenario team, I'd like to include a rabbit, what do you think? It wasn't based on a pre-existing scenario, but rather a sudden suggestion. Although it wasn't part of the original plan, one of the scenario writers was a huge rabbit lover, so we decided to incorporate it into a new scenario. You can find out the rabbit's true identity by looking at the Guilty Gear World glossary in the game, so please check it out. If you don't know, chat, Usagi is a customer of Jam's who she thought was extremely attractive, so she gave him a magical herb that she only had enough portions to make one meal of, and that magical herb turned him into a rabbit. And she assumed that he, like, dine and dashed, but left the rabbit. So she's keeping the rabbit with hopes of finding the customer, not realizing Usagi is the customer. And he's sticking around because Jam makes nice food. But also he would like to get his body back. No, I shouldn't be surprised. Honestly, somehow still way better than what they did to Alex in Street Fighter 6. It's clear that a lot of attention was paid to its creation, including the exquisite plumpness of its belly. I had to read that like 4 times to make sure I didn't say that wrong. As for the stomach, that's Sakamura's hobby, or rather his obsession. Google Translate is doing a lot of weird stuff here. Oh my god, look how fat he is. Look how fat he is. Jam isn't. They must be talking about Usagi. Like, look at him. He's so round. The attack animations are quite well designed, such as when Jam picks up a rabbit again. We put a lot of effort into creating the parts that don't have hit detection, such as the recovery animations after an attack. Since these are usually cancelled and you can't see them, we'd be very pleased if you could carefully check them out in training mode. A lot of fighting games do this. Street Fighter V Manat had a lot of expressive animations on her recovery, even though you generally cancel them into an orb. So, like, this is a common practice of characters' recovery animations that can generally be cancelled into anything, just having extra frames. It seems there's more work to be done on this character compared to others. The animation, including the interactions with the rabbit, takes more effort compared to the other characters. The animators would be delighted if users who notice this post it on social media, so please let us know what you think. Chat room, every time you post the Usagi bounce animated Evo, a little Strive producer gets a nice little feeling in their heart. Every time you get jiggy with it, someone gets happy. Don't stop getting jiggy with it, chat. Robo-Ky has already been announced as the next additional character after Jam. Speaking of Robo-Ky, his serious demeanor in Guilty Gear Xrd was memorable. In Guilty Gear XX, he had actions with strong comedic element, but what kind of attributes will he have in this game? Are we getting no-nonsense, serious, bum-ass Robo-Ky, or are we getting misogynist, LTG quoting Robo-Ky? Which are we getting? Which are we getting? Well, I can't go into specifics yet. Fuck! We intend to retain and incorporate the special system that previous Robo-Ky's users had in mind. In Guilty Gear Xrd, he only appeared in the story and showed a serious side, but we want to cherish the contrast with his comedical side during battles. Development is currently in full swing, and I can't help but laugh, especially when checking the motions. Okay, so he's gonna be a silly, goofy character. Give me a Robo-Ky that plays like he's not gonna play like MC Virgil. Personally, I need him to be an arsehole. That's the part that appeals to me. If he doesn't tell someone to end their own life, I don't want to play him. In the overview sequence for Venom and Kai, Robo-Ky says, it's been 27 years since we last met. Before version 2.0, he said, it's 26. Wait, did they update that? Is he counting the year? There's no way. He's counting the years of how long it's been. That's so good. That's so fucking good. That's so fucking... cinema. Cinema, honestly. Genius. I love that. That's so good. Did you notice this marks the 27th year since Robo-Ky first appeared in the series? Last year, when Venom was added, it was the 26th, so 1 year has passed, making it 27. This is not a number of years since Kai and Robo-Ky first met in the story. In other words, it's a meta comment. So next year, it'll be 28. Look forward to it. Drive's going to get a yearly update. It's just going to be a Robo-Ky voice line. How many voice lines are there? There's a lot of voice lines. That's really good. I really, really, really like that. Date, diff, years, system, date last seen. Maybe there's one system alone. I mean, they probably updated it because they got Robo-Ky back to do new voices. And they probably have got him to do next year as well. I don't know. Maybe they'll do it for as long as they keep updating the game. Because I imagine Robo-Ky is going to have interactions with characters going forward as well. So it'll be like, whenever they call him back, they'll update the voice line type shit. Seems like it will be a highlight of the updates every year. By the way, looking at Jam's profile, there's a sentence that says, several months have passed since her shop burned down for the third time. Has she really been through so much misfortune? Would you really do this to her again? And Gilligan XR'd the cut-in for a one-hit kill move, an instant kill, shows the shop burning down. But this is actually the third time. She had lost the shop twice before, but the first time wasn't shown, and the second time was in Jam's story mode in the original Guilty Gear XX. She got caught up in a battle between Venom and Milia, and the stall she had rebuilt was destroyed. Oh my god. Oh, that's there. Oh my god, wait, I just realized. That's literally her complaining about how her fucking stall's been destroyed. She's so sad. Oh, bless her. So that's the setting. In that case, this is the fourth food stall in the story. That's how it is. I really hope Jam does well this time. Changing the subject, I heard that the number of active users has increased considerably with the updates. So I think users are probably curious about the future balance adjustments and the addition of new characters. I understand that you may not be able to talk about specifics, but could you tell us about your outlook? First, we are prioritizing fixing the bugs and other issues that are currently being discussed. Starting in May, the Blazing Pass service will begin. Again, just sometime in May. Please expect end of May. The Blazing Pass is a new feature where you can level up by completing challenges as you play. And you can earn rewards including character customization elements such as costumes and short stories. In addition to regular rewards, you can also purchase the paid add-on Blazing Pass Plus for 550 yen. Which gives you even more luxurious items. How much is 550 yen? Apparently right now, 550 yen for me is £2.50. That is a cheap battle pass. That for me is £2.50. That is a cheap battle pass. Regional price, it probably will end up being about £5, but still. If it ends up being £2.50, I'm not complaining. That's actually a very good deal. I think we put in pretty good effort with the pricing, as we want as many people as possible to enjoy it. Updates like this, version 2.0, are basically free, and we hope users will purchase it so that we can support future updates. I feel like that was something Ken said, but he put it as the article. As the management team, we are actively requesting your cooperation, and we would appreciate it if you could consider it within reasonable limits. We believe that these efforts will ultimately lead to continuous updates and the addition of new features, and Robo-Ky will finally be implemented in this summer. In addition, we may be able to add a certain feature that many players have requested, so please stay tuned for further updates. Or is this certain feature? This is a feature that has been requested by many since the game's release. We're not yet at the stage where we can discuss it, so we'll provide more specific information later at a later date. We plan to announce future information sequentially at appropriate times. The remaining 2 characters of Season 5, which have not been announced, have been selected to further expand the world of Guilty Gear, so please look forward to them. I feel like it has to be the Replay Takeover, right? Right? Like, it has to be Replay Takeover. IKs, like, they've talked about IKs in the past. And they've said it's so much work for something that we don't feel is worth it. So, like, it has to be replay takeover. Because that feels like the second thing that everyone has been asking for, you know? Like, everyone's like, replay takeover as soon as possible, please and thank you. So, anything that can be added for Tokon, more Team of Three. It could, to be fair, along those lines, it could also be, Mon, if you think about it. Since Team of Three came out, people have kind of been asking for Mon. Mon would be very funny. I think right now, the way that you can take this, I would think that this is replay takeover. I hope it's replay takeover. But it could be Mon. It could be IKs. We'll have to see. We will genuinely have to see. Or if it's the April Fool's May jump and run, that would be sick. I do hope they find a way to implement that. Because that was like a lot of work for something that was just an April Fool's video. And that was it. Yeah, I think more side modes is good, honestly. Considering that people play Team of Three 1v1 now anyway, like, I think adding more silly side modes is fun. It's also just more ways to enjoy the game, honestly. Could you tell us, to the extent you are able to, about the big goals for the Guilty Gear Strive series as a whole, or the next developments? While Guilty Gear Strive enters its 5th year and releases with version 2.0, I believe we finally entered a phase where we consider the next developments for the series. We will continue the Guilty Gear series, and personally, I would like to see a new storyline. We hope to deliver developments that connect to the story so far, including what was depicted in the anime Guilty Gear Strive Dual Rulers. We hope you will enjoy the upcoming developments as well. For those who have recently heard about Guilty Gear Strive and become interested, now is a good time to try it out. For those who are already playing, we would be delighted if you could invite any friends who might be interested. The entire development team will continue to work hard to make Guilty Gear a fun fighting game that everyone can enjoy, so we appreciate your continued support. I don't think this is necessarily implying that we're gonna get a new game. Like, I think that this could be taken as we want to continue the series and we're going to do a new game. But I also think that this might be a lot of, like, with the Blazing Pass, we're getting specific character stories and things like that. So they might just be setting up, like, another arc. I don't think we're going to get, like, Guilty Gear Ziff anytime soon. You know, we're not going to get, like, a new fighting game just randomly dropped on us. I think Strive still has a little bit of life left in it. 5 more years is, like, the leak that came out ages ago that people were a little bit dooming about. And I don't know if we have that much time, but I definitely think we have a couple of years left to Strive. It would be utterly ridiculous for them to do a back-to-basics patch and then after 1 season go, and that's it, we're done. Like, I feel like we're at least going to get another season after this. And maybe another season after that. We'll have to see. 5 years is still 5 years. 5 years is a very, very long. It's lasted longer than every single Arc System Works game before it, if we're to be entirely honest. If we're not counting the fact that Fighters is still limping along, like, it's pretty much lasted longer than every XR release, every XX release, every Blaze Blue release. Like, this game has continually gotten updated for extremely long. Like, I was saying in Season 3, they're probably going to be done soon. Like, I remember when, like, Season 4 was announced, I was like, it's probably going to be the last season, we're probably going to be done. And they're going to move on to something else. But no, like, we're still here. I'm very thankful that we're still here. Don't get me wrong. But, like, this has been going on for a very, 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 very long time. Yeah, it's, like, longer than Tekken 7. I think we're approaching Street Fighter 5 level. But Street Fighter 5 had the weird thing where it ended twice. It ended, and then they were like, we're having trouble with 6, we're doing more things than 5. So, like, this is the longest Guilty Gear game. It's going on to be one of the longest supported fighting games, just in general. So, I mean, obviously that's not counting things like Smash Flash or, like, dedicated fan projects for fighting games and stuff like that. But it is... Yeah, I could see them supporting Season 6, and then we'll see. It really depends. Yeah, mostly I see this as them being like, we're adding new ways to tell stories, and we're continuing the next arc of Gear. What I would personally really like, and this is like really stupid, Arxis are like developing a double A sector of their company, right? They're like, we want one of the pillars of Arc System Works to be smaller budget, smaller scope games, which is why they made Demon and Baby. I would be so down. I would be so down for the next Guilty Gear game that continues the story to be like an action game starring Sol, Kai, Sin, and Unica. And the whole point is like you go and you deal with whatever threat was set up in the new stories that they're going to be doing. And it's like it's either like a character action or it's like a 4-player beat 'em up and stuff like that. Yeah, like just overture level of something like that. Because I genuinely think that could be a really good tie-in with everything. Not Overwatch 2 style, don't be ridiculous. It fucking did the thing again. My personal hope was just said in chat by Gosi, a Guilty Gear DMC, a Guilty Gear character action. It would be so sick. It would be so fucking sick. I think Daisuke once talked about not making a DMC-like Guilty Gear game because he said he can't make enemies as interesting as playable characters in gameplay. I think you could get around that. You can have very interesting, charismatic gears. But yeah, something like that. Or even something like, if we're going fucking full pie in the sky, something like Grand Blue Relink, right? Where it's like 4 players controlling different characters and you're fighting big raid bosses and shit like that. Something along those lines I think would be a good way. Because then we can still have Strive, we can still have the fighting game, we can still have that pillar, but then the story of Guilty Gear gets to continue in its own unique way, which is something they've shown that they want to do with like dual rulers. I don't know though, I don't work for Arc System Works, I don't want to get anyone's hope, like, invested, but... the development cycle for fighting games is usually around 5 years. Starting development on the next Guilty Gear would make a lot of sense. Yeah. I mean, we'll have to see. We'll have to see what they do. Personal pitch, though, Guilty Gear character action. Please. Make that guy character action. Different versions of the game you can buy. Oh, and we're done. Hell yeah, that's it. We're literally done. Hell yeah. Good article. Good article. I don't think this necessarily points to, like, Strive having a shorter lifespan or anything like that. Question marks could be Ragnar. Where do they show the question marks? Oh, here. They only show 4. Ragn. Oh my god. Wait, I got it. Chat. T-I-F-A. It's Tifa!